There we go. And awesome. So friends, happy Friday again. And today I'm going to do a couple things, basically three things. One, I'm going to take questions from you about the quiz, particulars, what do you think is going to be on it, how the questions are going to look, those types of things. Okay, I'll take questions from you on that, and I will try and alleviate any type of, I don't want to say anxiety, but just it's going to be a quiz that, as long as you're prepped for, you should do really well on. Secondly, we'll want to talk about the CPA that I checked this morning, and that was great work, man. I mean, almost everybody turned that thing in. Number two, I want to talk about, get your thoughts on the Egyptians. And then we'll wrap it up, talk about what's happened over the weekend. And that'll be that. We can talk about the weekend first. First things first, nothing to do over the weekend, giving you the whole weekend just to chill. Have fun with fam, with your buddies. We got nothing to do over the weekend. Nothing's due coming back on. The only thing is, since we're not meeting Monday, I would like to meet Wednesday. Is that okay with everybody? Is that somewhat okay with everybody? Maybe not. We'll try. I'll see how that goes. I'm still kind of noodling with that. But I'll send out word of that on Monday or Tuesday next week. Quiz will become available on Tuesday. Since Monday's the holiday, I'll make the quiz available starting Tuesday. You'll have the whole week to complete that. Okay, so basically from Tuesday to following Monday night or Tuesday at midnight, you'll be good to go. Okay. So I guess we can try and get that out now. Do you think, is everybody available on Wednesdays at this time or not? If you can throw in some yays or some nays in the chat. All right. I think it would be good to try and meet on Wednesday at this time. We're getting some yays and some nays. It would be, normal half hour, 35 minutes from, Bailey throws in a yeah. Yes. German, plus 15 points for you. Excellent. Well done. Okay, Cam, the quiz will become available on Tuesday. When I finish, my Tuesday, Thursday class meets at 11. So as soon as that Tuesday, Thursday class ends, I will make the quiz available to basically everybody. That's also something else too, guys. Like if you for some reason can't make a Monday or Friday session here, basically I'm running the same class for Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you want to be like, hey, Eagan, I can't make this one Friday, can I kind of shmee in on your Thursday class for a minute? I'll be more than happy to give you the Zoom link to a Thursday class, because we're kind of mirroring what we're doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, so just let me know about that if that is something that you guys would need to do as the semester goes on. What else is happening here? So that's that. Really nothing going on over the weekend. Enjoy your weekends. Have fun. Secondly, the quiz and the test. Okay, so does anybody have any questions off the top of their head that they want to throw into the chat or voice them? If not, or I'll start reading them as they come up, but I'm going to start putting some things in here about what the it'll look like. I explained it a lot on the syllabus, but sometimes people forget what is written in the syllabus. That it's okay. We'll just go over it again right here. So it'll be 50 points. That doesn't mean it's going to be 50 questions. but it's 50 points, okay? And the types of questions will include what I like to call multiple answer questions, okay? These are different than multiple choice, okay? Multiple choice questions, usually there's just one right answer. You can ask other people who have taken my tests and quizzes before, right? Is there ever, Bish, Michael, is there ever just one answer to these questions? No, the answer is no. Okay, so for instance, I'm going to ask a question that says, can you choose from the list below? This is a guaranteed question next week. Can you choose from the list below all of the environmental factors that affected the Mesopotamians? Okay, that's a guaranteed question. All right, and out of the 5 choices, I'm going to have in there things like, I'll put in like the Nile, or would you circle that one as environmental factors that affected the Mesopotamians? Would you choose the Nile? Michael's shaking his head yes, and he would be wrong, because the Nile is from where? Yes, the Nile is from Egypt, not Mesopotamia, and the professor wins again. So I'll have choices like Nile, Tigris, Euphrates, those types of things. Okay, and so you'll just have to go through and make sure that you're choosing all the ones that apply to a certain culture that we've gone over. Okay, you can be guaranteed that there's always going to be more than one choice to make on those types of questions. I cannot state that more clearly. Okay, I am not going to ask a question where there's just going to be one answer on those multiple answer choice type questions. So that's fair warning to all of you. Okay, those questions, there will always be at least 2 choices, maybe 3 sometimes. Okay, Bish asked a question, are we going to be allowed to have a PDF of the book open in a different tab when we're taking the quiz? I remember last year you were clear that we shouldn't leave the quiz tab on Canvas, but we also had a paperback book then. Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be able to toggle between tabs when taking the quiz. If you can't, you can have the PDF maybe open on your phone or something like that. I don't care. You can use anything to take this quiz. You can use the book. You can use your notes. Hopefully you took notes on some of the videos that we've been watching. Hopefully you took notes on the PowerPoint videos that I've been putting out. You can literally use anything. Just use stuff. Here's the big thing. Okay, I'm going to type this in all caps. Okay, just guys, use things from this course. Okay, for your answers. So what that means is, I don't want, so for instance, if we ask a short answer question about something, and I'll talk about short answers in a minute, and then all of a sudden something comes flying in from left field that you clearly used your phone and went and looked up something on, stupid Wikipedia or, all the other different websites you can use. If all of a sudden something comes flying in from background out of one of those sites, then we're going to have a problem. Okay, does that make sense? All right. And it won't be a problem like I'll give you a 0 for cheating. No, you don't get any points on that question. And I'll put a gentle to somewhat ungentle reminder in your comments to stop Googling the answers and look it up in your course text stuff. Okay? Because this quiz and all my quizzes, you're not going to have to look outside of anything else other than the stuff that we gave you in class. Okay? So if you're prepped and ready to go, you should have no trouble finding the answers in all the stuff that we've gone over and looked at. Okay? That's the big thing. So you got to prep yourself, meaning you got to have all your stuff ready to go, like your book here, your notes here. You got to be ready to go when you click begin, because then it's timed. Okay? And you're going to have enough time to take the quiz as long as you're prepped. But if you click begin and then the time starts going and then you don't know where anything is in your notes or in your book and every answer you're flipping around trying to find stuff, then you're going to run out of time. Okay? So you got to have everything kind of ready to go. Time on the test, usually on these things, I give you between, I haven't decided yet with this because I'm not fully committed to some of the questions. I'm going to tweak around a little bit, but usually on my quizzes and tests, you will get between 60 and 90 minutes to take these things. That, friends, is plenty of time to complete these answers. Okay. But like I said, it will start to go quickly if you're kind of hemming and hawing and fiddly-deeing around trying to find all the stuff in your notes because you weren't prepped before you click begin. Cool? Okay. This is not going to be a tough quiz. These are not tough quizzes. This is not a hard course. Everything is going to be pretty much at your disposal. Let me type in a message here real quick. Yeah, anybody, so if you do have, excuse me, swallowed a fly. So if you do have, things, if you have time extensions and documented things like that, don't worry. I got all that information and I'll take care of that on the quiz. Plenty of time for everybody to take all the quizzes. Okay, plenty of time. My shorter answer kind of essay questions, those are like kind of choose your own adventure questions, meaning there's not really one right way to answer the question. For instance, okay, I will always ask questions such as, what do you believe is, hold on a second, let me get it back there. What do you believe is most important about a certain thing? Okay. So for instance, what is a guaranteed question? You guys should probably know this by now. I guarantee I'm going to ask this question next week, and I'm going to say something like, what do you think is the most important thing to have for a civilization to be called a civilization? It's a guaranteed question. Okay. And so you guys can then, you got like, remember, we got like 5, 6, 7 choices of stuff you can use. So imagine somebody comes up to you on the street. They're, of course, socially distanced and masked up, but they come up to you on the street and they say, hey, you, what do you think that the most important thing is for a civilization to become a civilization? And you would say, well, gee whiz, friend, we happen to be talking about that in history class, and here's what I think. Law, or written language, or big architectural monumental structures. Okay, so when you choose something like that, so for instance, let's say you guys choose, I believe the most important thing to have for a culture is writing or a written language. Very good. If that question is worth 8 points, you just scored 4 out of 8 if you leave it like that. Does that make sense? you just scored half the points. Okay, so if you just turn that in like that and say, Eagan, I think the most important thing to have for a civilization is written language, click, send, done, I'm going off to play with my pals. Okay, good for you, but you just got 4 out of 8 because you gave me half the answer. You didn't give me any details. You gave me the answer, but you didn't give me anything specific. So the way to score 7, 8 out of 8 is to type in, oh, I don't know, something like cuneiform or hieroglyphics. Does that make sense? That's how you score good on these tests. Score good. Score well on these tests. Sorry about my terrible grammar. That's how you score well on these quizzes and these tests. Okay, you have your answer, and then you always, guys, ask yourself, did I put in enough W's? Did I give my answer a who, or a where, or a when, or a what? If you can read through your answer and be like, oh, yep, I got a who in there, or I got a when in there, or I got a where in there, you can be pretty darn sure that you're going to score well on these quizzes. It's weird because you guys tend to lose lots of points. Young people, we tend to lose lots of points because you just get the answer out and you say written language and then you move along. Okay, so make sure you get your who's and your where's and your what's and your when's. Is there going to be dates? And everybody likes to ask that question. You know, I need to know the dates. I need to know when Hammurabi's code was written. No, I'm not going to ask specific dates. I'm not a big date person. Okay. However, you need to know, when things happened in terms of what I like to call chronological events. Do you know what came first between Neolithic or Paleolithic? Can anybody answer me that question? What came first? Neolithic or Paleolithic? You can type it in or unmute yourself. It's up to you guys. Whatever you want.
Isn't it the Paleolithic?
What did you say, Connor?
Isn't the Paleolithic?
Paleolithic comes first. Very good. Yeah. Old Stone Age. Okay. Paleolithic came first. Then Neolithic. That's how I do dates, guys. Okay. So as our class goes on, like, you're going to need to know that the height of Egyptian civilization came before the height of Greek civilization. Okay? You don't need to know that the height of Egyptian civilization was around the year 2000 BC and the height of Greek civilization was around the year 400 BC. You don't need to know that. You can if you want. That would help you a polite conversation and you could be a dinner table star. But you just need to know what came first, kind of when these things happened. That's how I work with dates. I'm a big believer in asking you things like what's most important. We talked about that already. Okay, so as long as you can, in your notes, if you can get out one good thing, like what's really important about this thing that I want to talk about, you'll be good to go. Any other questions for me? You can ask or type in on the quiz. My guess is, friends, there'll be, like, in terms of like total questions, right now I'm probably going to put that in around I think off the top of my head, I just looked at it yesterday. It's going to be around 15 total questions. Okay, so we have like 15 total questions, divided probably half and half between multiple answers and you guys choosing certain things. Oh, I always, like in my questions, I will always try to contain a picture or a source of some sort. Okay. So for instance, we're going to have a question on Hammurabi's code. That'll be a guaranteed question. And I'll probably put a thing in there, you know, like that giant, huge stone structure that Hammurabi would put up in the cities so people could go look at the law. Okay. I have probably a picture of that, and I'll be like, why was that important? Why did Hammurabi put those in the town? Those types of things. Anything else? So like, this last off the top of my head, you know, we'll, like when we're doing the Egyptians, guarantee I have a picture of like that. If you watch the Egyptian notes, that one scene where like you got the guy who's dead and he's going through the judgment scene, you know, that's probably a guaranteed question. You know, can you name some of the people in that scene? You know, like how would you identify, like if I asked you like, there's a god in this scene called Anubis. How would you identify, if anybody remembers from the notes, how would you identify who Anubis is?
He's got a canine head.
Very good. Very good. It's the god with a dog head. Right? Those are things, guys, these are cool things that you're going to weirdly remember this in like 20 years, 25 years. You're going to have your little kids running around. You know, your little kids are going to be looking through Egyptian stuff, and you're like, hey, I know that guy. It's Anubis. And they're going to be like, gee whiz, Dad, or gee whiz, Mom. Like, and you're going to be like, stupid Eagan's class. I remember that from that class. Because these are things that stick with you. Right? You're going to be able to remember those Egyptian gods because they're fun. They're fun to remember. So let's talk about just briefly here. We got a little bit of time left. You know, we'll do 5-10 minutes here on this. I want to get, because some of you guys put in some really cool thoughts on the CPA. What did you guys think about the Egyptians? Anything cool? Anything that anybody found truly interesting? Most interesting thing maybe they found about the Egyptians, or maybe the thing that the contribution that they make to civilization? Like, what is one thing that the Egyptians really give to civilization that we can still think about? Or even another way to ask it, did anybody find any modern connections to the Egyptians? Was there anything that when you went through the material and you're like, yeah, dude, it's kind of familiar with the Egyptians? I'll let you guys throw on some answers or noodle on that for a minute. Awesome. This is great. I'm using my.
What was the question again?
Oh, anything interesting about the Egyptians? Any modern connections? You guys wrote all about these in your CPAs.
I think their academic achievements. I know that they studied a lot of the human body and their engineering achievements that kind of carry over, or like, so a domino effect.
No, I totally agree.
Looking into exploring that.
Yeah, they have like. I think maybe what you're trying to say there, Tara, is like technological stuff. The Egyptians have a lot of tech. They have a lot of cool things, you know. And you can watch some of those cheesy shows that are on the History Channel, like the ancient Egyptians were aliens. Like that's who built the pyramids, was the aliens. And no, not really. But the Egyptians invented all kinds of cool things. to make the ability to build those gigantic structures that still are around. It's really something cool to think about the Egyptians. Like that, those things that they built 4,000 years ago, they're still around. It's kind of hard to believe. Yeah, Cam says the ability to adapt the environment. Excellent. Yeah, I think that the Egyptians harnessed the power of the Nile River. Certainly, they turned it into a highway. Good. Now we're getting some things going. Yeah, I mean, the ways that the Egyptians found to translate their culture to us in those hieroglyphics. Again, the highways. Yeah, they had a system of tax collection. Good. So you guys are picking up on all of these things that are going to be very helpful. Were I to maybe ask a question like this on the quiz last week, certainly. I want to ask you guys, if you found any modern connections with this term that the Egyptians came up with, or a position that they came up with, this guy known as Pharaoh. What is Pharaoh like? If we could kind of liken Pharaoh to
Like a god.
Like a what?
Like a king.
Yeah, he's like a king.
It was like a godlike figure.
But it's different. It's Pharaoh is
Divine.
more, he's more than just a king, okay? Because a king is a man. Pharaoh's more than a man. Pharaoh was what to the Egyptians?
It was a godlike.
Pharaoh was God. He was a living God on earth, okay? So in this sense, you can liken Pharaoh to, when we as human beings, when we had divine kings, when we believed that the kings, whether it was the King of England or the King of France or whomever, was sort of got his power from God, was divinely inspired, okay? And that you have to follow the law because basically the law came from God through the king to you. All right. So those are really interesting things. Certainly Egyptian religion is an interesting one. Did you guys pick up on like the myth story? Hopefully, if you haven't gone through those notes, hopefully you go through those notes this weekend. Like there's that, really cool story they talk about, with Isis and Osiris and rejuvenation and all those different types of things. I think those are modern connections to make.
They were like brother and
go ahead,
sister,
Michael.
weren't they?
What's that?
Osiris and
Isis.
what's her name? Isis. Yeah. They were like brother and sister.
They were like brother and sister. Today, obviously, not cool. Kind of West Virginia-y. All right, but you're not allowed to do that kind of stuff. But in the ancient world, those were very common, very, very common stories, I guess. But the thing about Isis and Osiris that links us to today is that we believe when we die that we get rejuvenated, or the majority of us. I wouldn't say all of us. But there's a lot of us who believe that when we shut our eyes for the last time on earth, that we're going to go to another place. And that we got to do stuff on this earth to get in there. You got to live a good life. Those are the interesting connections that if I were to maybe answer a question on that I would talk about. How there's a lot of similarities between religious belief systems, even though who we call God and who we talk about with heaven are different. The general premise is the same. You got to live a good life here on earth in order to ensure a good next life. Cool. Anybody else got anything? on this Friday, on this sun. Is it sunny back home? I'm at the lake. Is it sunny back home? It looks kind of sunny. It looks nice. All right, good. Anybody else want to throw in any questions for the quiz? Oh, it's a beautiful day. Good. I'm glad. So, guys, what are we at now?
I have a question.
Yeah, Brady, go ahead, man.
So, what was the exact, I don't know, like, why was mummification so, like, influential on everything that happened?
It comes back to, am I typing in here? All right. It comes back to their afterlife beliefs. Okay. The Egyptians, one way that really differentiates their afterlife belief from ours is that the Egyptians believed that you could pass or take physical things from this life into the next life. One of the things that differentiates us is if you believe in an afterlife, in the modern world, you don't believe that physical things go to the afterlife. It's just ephemeral. It's spirits. It's your soul that passes on, but your body doesn't. Your body stays. The Egyptians believed that you could, in essence, pass your physical being and your physicalness into the afterlife. And it was a privilege of the elites to be able to do that. Mummification was not for everybody. Mummification was a very, very, very expensive process. Just like today, guys, you know, none of us think about it because we're all relatively young people, but funerals in the modern world, guys, funerals still are extremely expensive affairs, and you can make them more expensive or less expensive depending on how much you want to spend on your deceased family member. Okay. You can get them like, you know, really expensive, kind of impenetrable coffins, you know, because you don't want to stick them in the ground and let like bugs get at them and stuff like that. You know, or you can get kind of the traditional pine box and throw them in there. And so there's ways that we still today differentiate between the funeral experience. In the ancient world, with the Egyptians specifically, they believed that you could preserve your physical being and then you could be transported essentially to the afterlife. So Brady, that's kind of where mummification comes in there, is because one of the things that the Egyptians did, and they didn't talk about this so much on the video, but one of the things that all Egyptians did, if you had any money at all, as soon as you died, they would not rip, but they would get inside and they would take your heart out. Okay. And they would put it in a jar. And why? You guys should know this. Why would they take your heart out and put it in a jar? What happened to your heart when you died? What did you have to do with your heart? You guys remember that at all from the notes?
So it could be weighed.
Yes.
And hopefully be lighter than a feather.
Excellent. So Michael talks about that. Your heart, guys, your heart has to be weighed against a feather. So one of the things that the Egyptians did is when you died, they would sort of do that for you. They would take your heart out of your body, put it in a jar of like preservatives, you know, different types of maybe embalming fluids or preservative type things. And when you got buried or put in the tomb, your heart was there for you so that you could sort of present it to Anubis and be like, hey, Anubis, here's my heart. You know, go ahead and weigh it. I got it out for you. So that was an interesting thing that all Egyptians, regardless of social class, would try to have their heart embalmed, taken out. Interesting, certainly. I don't know. How do we make connections to that? I know, for instance, just speaking personally, like when my dad passed away, you know, one of the things that I did is I took all kinds of stuff that he and I valued together, and I put it in his coffin before they took him away. And I was like sitting there one day, and I was younger, and I hadn't gone through all this school stuff yet. And I was like, and I sat back and I thought about it. I was like, why the hell did I do that? Like, why did I take those things and put them with him? And it's because it was like it was something human coming out of me that links us all to all cultures throughout time, is I wanted him to have those as he kind of passed along. You know, it's just kind of a personal example of something that links us to cultures from all ages. Is you want the deceased individual to have stuff on their journey to the next life. You know, maybe probably a more I don't know, scientific-y individual would be like, that's stupid, you should have not put that in there, and whatever. I don't know. I liked it. Tiffany asked a question: will we have to know what the different Egyptian gods did, like that Osiris was the god of the afterworld? Like each of their individual tasks, probably no, I wouldn't say. Like, I'm not going to be like, who was the god that took you from this world to that world? No, I would though like you to have an idea of that scene in the Book of the Dead, like kind of who's doing what in that scene. Obviously that mean little god, Amit, who's like a 1/3 crocodile, 1/3 lion, 1/3 hippopotamus. It would eat your soul. It would eat your heart. Those are fun things to remember. But I'm not going to, on my quizzes, I don't ask specific pointed things like, what did this god do? Tell me now. I don't do that. Those aren't fun questions. Let's see. So just to sum up here, all right, before we take a break, everything from learning module number 1 is available to be quizzed upon. So it starts with Paleolithic, goes through Neolithic, Agricultural Revolution, Mesopotamians, Tigris, Euphrates, Hammurabi, and then Egyptians, where are they at, Nile River, Egyptian religious beliefs, those types of things. Okay, that's what's going to be on the quiz. As long as, like I said, guys, as long as you're prepped for it, you got your notes kind of spread out about you. You did a little bit of reading so you can know where to go on the page numbers. This is going to be a quiz that you should knock out pretty easily. And you got the whole week to do it. So you can take it, Friday night, you can take it. Sunday night, don't care, whenever you want. I would last thing, just let your buddies know, let your family know, let your, whomever know, if you're in like a dorm room or something like that, just like tell your buddies or tell your brothers or sisters or mom and dad, like, look, just leave me alone for the next hour and a half. I got to take this quiz. Okay. So if you're in like just a distraction free environment, and you should be good to go, just let everybody know, like, hey man, I concentrate on this quiz for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Leave me alone. Don't text me. Good to go. All right. You can get it done on whenever you want and go out and party it up, have fun. So next time, guys, we'll get together. I would like to try to get together next Wednesday at 11:15. Okay. Looks like everybody could possibly make it then. I will send out an invite because I'd like to meet twice next week to go over some stuff, Wednesday and Friday, and just to make sure that you guys are all handling if you got any questions on the quiz or things like that. Okay. So you'll get that invite from me Monday, Tuesday next week. And until then, if we don't have anything else, enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Cool? Awesome. Great. Signing off, my friends. I will see you guys next week. See ya.